Welcome back, my gardening friends, to the October jobs on our allotments and the progress that I've made. So let's have a little look around on plot 1. Well, I managed to get a bit of weeding done. I did take a couple of weeks break from YouTube, and it did pay off. It got my mind back in a better place, and we tidied all this area up. We've already started taking a few of the older strawberry plants. So these strawberries are now 2 years old, so they were last year's runners, and I've been finding obviously this year's runners and placing them in these beds. So we've got 4 beds of runners from 2021, and then 4 beds of this year's runners, 2022, and some are in different stages. I think some of the runners come a little bit earlier and they get established a little bit quicker, but those were in this bed that was really dropped because these were fresh beds. I've built them up at least a full pallet collar, so hopefully they won't sink as much now. But every year I'll be moving these 2022 runners to here, and I think I'm going to move all my strawberries every year. It's a tidier job. Let's see how they cope. But some that we moved earlier on in the season when we first started are doing quite well, and some are even flowering. It's been quite warm but very, very wet here in the UK this October 2022. We spent a bit of time getting some of the weeds out, and the compost bin was getting fuller and fuller, so we had to make some new compost bins on plot 3. We'll show you those later on when we move over. But the rhubarb's now been cleared. The trees have had a good pruning from the bottom. These trees were bought from the cheap supermarkets, and the rootstock wasn't the right rootstock, and even some of the trees that were supposed to be conference pears were apples. So we're done with them. If I do anything in the future, I will buy a heritage variety and pay the money. Let's not go cheap, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. All the effort I spent in getting these right, and the hashtag starting a new allotment, you can see how we did on this plot over the 2 years it took to create it. Still weeding to do, but I took the priority because we set the trommel up ready, but we had a hell of a lot of rain, and I decided to move the bench. So now we've got 5 barrels here, all connected together, filling up nicely from the temporary roofs now, because they are leaking a little bit. But once we know how much polycarbonate we have left after we put a roof on the new leaf mold bins, I can get these sorted. And just while we're here, I've started to clear the wildflower garden. Massive issues with these, and those little runners keep throwing runners out, creating new plants, and they're spreading all over my allotment. So we're going to be putting some pallet collars here and reducing the size of the wildflower garden and wildlife area to a minimum, so it will be easier to manage. And there's the bug hotel that we built earlier on in the year. That apple tree will be going as well. The cooking apples did not last very long once they were picked, so we'll get shut of that and open all that up. There's what's left of the volunteer asparagus, and it's all been replaced with all these barrels, which are all now connected up, and they join up with the compost bin up there now, and they're all reasonably level, a feet in its own, and as you can see, the water's dripping into there, and hopefully by the end of the winter this will be full. I've been messing about with it, and we've just got a slight leak there. That post has moved, so I need to do that because we've got water sitting in the guttering. That's better, and just got a little leak there, but this will be ideal now. And I've put 2 pipes there because if I'm drawing from this one, at least I've got 2 barrels it's siphoning from before it starts siphoning down here, and I can get access to that one up there for any watering needs. And those coil springs there that we make stops the pipe from kinking, hopefully. And we don't like to take too much water out these barrels, because once they get below the pipe, then we have to redo them because they'll get an air lock in the pipes. But no, really happy with that, and I'll have to climb and scrommel if I need to go down into one of the little areas that's dumping ground. As you can see, we've taken some of the peppers out, and again the rat's doing his job by turning the compost for me. Why should I do it when the rats will do it for me? They do an excellent job actually, but that's their winter job. We'll do battle with them in the spring. Previous videos we've set up the trommel. I've made the new trommel, and lovely comments about using timing belts or bike tyres, because I'm still having trouble with these wheels getting stuck on those bits of silicone. I might have to shave some of that off, but it works a lot better when it's in dry conditions, and the leaf mould is absolutely wet through, absolutely soaked. So we will have to wait, be patient. Comfrey's dying back slowly. It won't be long before I clear that, and then we can do a few repairs as needed. Most of the compost area has been tucked down, and we'll rebuild it to suit my needs, ready for the following year. Well, for this year's leaves. It's a job needs doing soon. Christmas potatoes, they haven't got blight, they're just going a little bit mouldy. I'm going to leave those there for a bit longer, and then we'll clean them all off and get them into the polytunnel. And there's a few chilli plants left there. The reason they're left is because I don't need any more compost, homemade compost, to top these bins up. And I use the cocoa coir that we get for free. Oh, chuck that on the floor. Just helps with the weeding and with the slugs when it dries out. Slugs aren't awfully keen, but the weeds do pull out really easy. I haven't put any strawberries there because the tree draws all the moisture out of that, and all the strawberry plants died. So all the bulbs that we got from the front garden at home that I managed to save, I've put into there, and then added a few of the tulip bulbs similar to what we had in those last year, but I've planted them deeper this time because moving the strawberries meant I disturbed the tulip bulbs. And I've got to decide now where the snowdrops are going, and any surplus. Well, there's going to be absolutely loads and loads of strawberry plants. Might use them on the edges of some of the scaffold plank raised beds on plot 3. Not sure yet. And we need some dry weather so we can have a fire, and hopefully it's warm but very, very wet. Very wet, not drying weather at all at the moment. So I think that's all here. Oh, there's some of the wood that we're going to use on the base of the leaf mould bin. Once I've done that, then I may fit the long awaited door on this this cage, and I can have a go at assembling this to create a little cage over all of those. Not so much, I think it's just the climate conditions under the green netting that made the strawberries grow much better here in the cabbage cage. It's certainly done the weeds a lot of good. Like I say, if you let them go to seed, it just gets out of control. It's just as easy just to rip the lot out, check for vine weevil, bare root them, and then get them replanted. And then I can start figuring out how much of this wood I really do want once I've finished a few of the projects. So we're on plot 3, desperate for a new gate. Come on, let's see if I can get that gate done this year. And in a previous video we managed to show you how we'd cleared all this. This is when I had my break from YouTube, and there's the straps which have worked really well, which I'm going to replicate where the asparagus is. Once that's cut down, we can create that at some stage. These beds have all been put to rest. They've had some well rotted manure and some living green salad and veg compost sprinkled on the top, and this is the bed we had the super summer trial on. Apologies if you're getting any wind. I haven't got my microphone in just in case we get a silent movie again. So these are the Wilko red onions. We put these in cell trays. They look absolutely wonderful. We've got some Swiss chard there. The Swedes and turnips, not brilliant this year again, always seem to struggle. And here's the 2 temporary compost bins we set up. I collected a bag of leaves in one of the previous videos on the trommel, so that's like a weed suppressant around there, and we keep folding the cardboard over and adding things to each side. We've even put some manure in here. I don't normally bother, but that will help things, including the worm life creatures. Everything's really damp at the moment, and there's even some wasps enjoying the apples that we haven't used in our crumbles and apple stewed mix that we're making at the moment with all the apples that people are leaving outside their properties. Well worth helping yourself to a few. Absolutely desperate for some wood chips, but I thought that bag of leaves we collected, I'll chuck them on the ground. Help stop the weeds, because it's nature's way. The trees will shed the leaves onto the ground to stop all the other seeds growing, so that their seeds get the better chance. So if I struggle with wood chips, we might just have this just to help the underfoot area. We created these during October. They're all filled and now resting. This will be the permanent bean beds, pea beds. In a previous video we did a reveal of the carrots, and then the parsnips and some other vegetables. We harvested one of the red cabbages. They do look really sad and horrible, but if you can get a couple of meals out of them, it's well worthwhile. And even after all this rain, no doubt there's going to be a snowstorm. Not as bad as normal, but hopefully I'll be able to start picking some of this without it being completely covered in a gooey mess. We picked some sprouts, and we're going to have those on our Sunday dinner. And we swapped these barrels that hadn't got the taps on, move the water around. That's why we're a little bit lower on water now. So now I can just connect a little bit of hose to that one and turn that one on. That one can have a hose up to there, and then in the opposite direction they can go the other way. So that tap there can go into that surplus hole there, and I haven't been able to get any cheap taps from Wilco's recently, so I will wait patiently. That barrel is actually empty now. I'm waiting for the for a tap. Cleaned all the stinging nettles from down there, so we can see clearly down there now, and you can see all the barrels. And this one normally overflows. This is the one that overflows, so we've got another inch there, so another good storm, and we'll have all these barrels full, which totals to nearly 7,000 litres just around the polytunnel itself. That bed needs topping up, but this will be a carrot or a parsnip bed. It's probably next year's parsnip. So we'll pick some materials that haven't got any nutrients in, and then we'll rejuvenate it like we normally do with a liquid manure in the manure layer, which is about 3 or 4 pallet collars down. And then hopefully we'll get parsnips and carrots like you saw in the previous video. All the green manure has been cut down, and we'll let that, you see the water, like cardboard's a good what's that? I'll just occasionally pop a hole in it just to help the water get through. And oh, that's breaking down nicely now, so give that another month and we can top all these beds up with soil. We don't dig it in, we just cover it up. And these are the green manure seeds that we're going to be saving, so I just need to put the wire nets up around that to support them. And we've got the odd pea growing as well. Now, if I didn't cover these with cardboard, I don't like using plastic. You know, the weeds do grow, but there's nothing else there, so it's well worth the effort, because just a few pulls there and these beds are ready to go. I will keep on top of them. The elephant garlic is situated on this side of the bed. The red Russian garlic is sitting there, planted deeper than normal. And we've got the shallots on this side, just struggling a little bit. But the gourmet save seed, these are the saved seeds. As you can see, they're already splitting, they're already growing from different angles, because they're my save seed. And then we've got the golden gourmet shallots new seed. I couldn't help myself, from Wilco's. I bought 3 bags of different types. So that's fresh manure and cardboard, and these are also planted in the cell trays. And I'm not sure whether that's oh no, see, I've pulled it out. It is growing. Impatience, you see. Shocking weed. The peas. There's the peas we did in the guttering in the polytunnel. I'll probably fetch those out, or might leave them just to see if that gives me a later crop. But we've now got flowers on these peas, and they do look really good. And there, the pea terrain. So on the 20th of the 8th this year. May have planted them too late, but they say you can. There's the Opria, absolutely looking gorgeous. Probably too much there for me, but we'll keep it going. Walking onions, they're looking okay. And here are my broad beans. These are the crimson ones, the crimson flowers. Hopefully I've selected the right seed, because some of the flowers didn't come true, which is what you expect when they get pollinated. And the mice haven't found them. I put 3 per station, and as a weed suppressant I covered them with leaves, and before that we used some mint, some garden mint we pulled out. And even now, just rattle this about and you get the smell. So hopefully that did stop the mice from finding them. And that was a comment that was made on my channel, which was has now been successful. Plenty of homemade compost to go at, and this won't get touched. We'll use what we've got out of the other two containers. Get that out and then I can start collecting manure for the runoff. While we've got so much water, I've been absolutely soaking those and soaking these, and I was watching some of my videos back on a carrot reveal in the polytunnel, and I'd got vine weevils in my carrots, and then I stupidly, he says now, wondering why I got vine weevils in the strawberry runners, which I've still got to take home into the municipal bin out the way. But I think I watched the video back too late. But you don't get vine weevils in carrots very often, but I did here. And my second place giant carrot that we got second place, is just started to grow now, so we just got to watch the moisture levels on that. Time management is really key on our allotments and growing spaces. I'm not going to get here on the evenings once the clocks move, so I'm having longer weekends now. Most of the DIY's done, and I've been off all this week, so I've managed to get the odd hour in. So just pace yourself. Surprising what you can get done. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta for now.